Hello, beloved attention givers. My name is Host Eric, and I am the host of Talking with Famous People. And tonight I want to talk about the different ways in which values can conflict, and the ways in which that is best resolved through compromise, and the ways in which that is best resolved through elimination of options. Those being very different social circumstances, requiring much different social applications of social force or motivational FE stuff or whatever. So I will eventually tie this back to cognitive functions, maybe not in this video. So first of all, let's talk about compromise positions in terms of something that you can level up and down in. So for example, if we're talking about, there's this conflict ongoing between the community of people who, supposedly distrust the government and are kind of kooky and have conspiracy theories of what the government's doing. And then there's this community of people that are sort of college-educated professionals, usually pretty liberal, and they poo-poo the conspiracy theorists as nut jobs and dismiss their ideas not by ever addressing them directly, but instead by dismissing the person who's making the argument. So really, at least the conspiracy theorists are making arguments, and those who dismiss them are not. So in my mind, the conspiracy theorists are winning that round. But I want to explain why they ought not win the round, and why neither should the other side, and the way we can compromise effectively on an issue like that. So the fundamental idea behind the conspiracy theories is unrealistic because it expects a lot of different people to conspire together and keep something secret, which is basically impossible when you have a bunch of individual agents who can spill secrets. However, the problem with that idea, that conspiracies are not possible, is that, in fact, the coordination of groups towards group goals is very much exactly what government does. And so if you have an organization whose group goal is secretive conspiracy, such as the CIA or the NSA, then naturally that group is going to express those group goals in more healthy and less healthy ways, depending on the individuals who are planning, executing, and in charge and stuff like that, and the ones on the ground who just have to implement. So there's that issue. It's like, well, we know that something like the CIA, that's their job, is to conspire. We have lots of evidence of them doing fucked up conspiratorial shit to our own people. Yes, black people count as our own people too. Just because they only gave syphilis to the black people doesn't mean they didn't do it to our own people, right? They did. It's in the historical record. So when people start talking about the CIA conspiring, I don't think that anyone should dismiss that out of hand. They should say, well, of course they're conspiring. But the question then is, what does that mean? The mistake that conspiracy theorists consistently make is what you would call single source fallacy. That they assume that when the government seems to be, different disparate aspects of the government seem to be acting in concert towards a similar goal, they assume that they're motivated by the same reason, that they're directed by the same force. And that's not at all the case. In fact, a lot of these manifestations of government that are bad are simply implicit qualities of the institution itself and how it functions. There are mechanisms of government that produce outcomes as a result of it existing. Namely, bureaucracies who are paying people to execute bureaucracy get bureaucracy. Bodies of government that are being paid to make laws, make laws. Bodies of, spying, who get paid to spy, they spy. And to the extent that these organizations are large and entrenched, it becomes normalized. So the behaviors that are not acceptable behaviors by decent people towards other decent people, then they become normalized, and there's this culture of justification, ends justify the means, and the ends that are stated are consistently overstated, such as, well, we're trying to prevent terrorists from killing Americans. Well, that's not actually what you're doing. You're trying to centrally control that which cannot be centrally controlled. You cannot prevent terrorists, okay? You just can't. whatever preventions you put in place, whatever holes in our security you try to fill, there are 100 other holes. All they need is one terrorist who leads with extroverted intuition, and it is impossible to stop them. The extroverted intuitor will come up with 1,000 different ways to blow a bunch of shit up. If he's bought into that fucking bullshit Islamic nonsense, and if you are not aware, and I haven't done one in quite a long time, but I'm anti-Islam. What I mean by that is, I believe the religion to manifest primarily as rights violation almost all the time. It's basically apartheid against women, and the liberals who talk about Islamophobia and concern over anti-Islamic sentiment in the United States simply do not address this. They have a cultural relativism thing going on. Now, Homeboy today asked me to comment on cultural relativism. I forgot, and I'm segueing into that right now. I want to do a separate video on that. But, fuck no, cultural relativism. Fuck no. Thanks for watching Talk with Famous People. I'll be back later to explain why fuck no cultural relativism. And see you soon.